The Galactic Academy's combat simulation chamber hummed with energy as Commander Vex Thor, the undefeated tactical genius of the Apex Coalition, surveyed his latest class of cadets. His 4 eyes gleamed with predatory satisfaction. In 300 cycles, no student had ever defeated him in the final trial. His exoskeleton clicked rhythmically as he paced, a sound that had become synonymous with inevitable defeat for countless cadets. Among the assembled beings stood Cadet Maya Chun, the only human in the Advanced Tactical Warfare program. For 6 weeks, she had been utterly silent. While other cadets boasted of their species' military histories or debated strategy late into the station's 9th cycle, Maya simply observed. She attended every lecture, completed every assignment with adequate marks, and spoke only when directly questioned, offering responses so brief they bordered on dismissive. The other cadets had theories. The Krillian twins believed humans were mentally deficient, their primitive brains unable to process multidimensional warfare. Chikara, a warrior scholar, suspected the human was paralyzed by fear, overwhelmed by being surrounded by species that had mastered space travel while her kind still crawled through their own solar system on chemical rockets. Commander Vex Thor had his own assessment. Humans were simply outclassed. Physically weak, lacking natural armor or enhanced sensory organs, they had stumbled into the galactic community through sheer luck rather than merit. He'd accepted Maya into his program as a courtesy to the fledgling Earth delegation, expecting her to wash out within days. That she'd lasted 6 weeks was mildly surprising, nothing more. The final trial was elegant in its brutality. Each cadet would face Commander Vex Thor in a real-time strategic simulation. The scenario changed for each participant, drawn from actual historical battles across the galaxy. Resources were limited, victory conditions nearly impossible, and the commander's centuries of experience made him virtually unbeatable. Most cadets lasted 7 minutes before conceding. The record was 19 minutes, held by a Valdorian prince who now commanded a fleet. Maya stepped into the simulation chamber last. The holographic battlefield materialized around her. The siege of Karzon, where the legendary commander HFY had held a mining colony against impossible odds. The scenario was considered unwinnable. Even HFY had only survived, not triumphed. Vex Thor had chosen it specifically for the human. A final humiliation before she returned to her backwater world. The simulation began. Vex Thor commanded the attacking force, 10,000 strong with orbital support. Maya controlled the colony's meager garrison of 800 defenders and limited anti-aircraft capabilities. Standard doctrine demanded she fortify the central compound, force a siege, and hold as long as possible. Maya did none of these things. In the first 30 seconds, she abandoned the colony entirely, pulling every defender back into the surrounding mountains. Vex Thor's mandibles clicked in amusement. Cowardice dressed as tactics. He pressed his advantage, moving forces into the undefended colony. Then the mines detonated. Not the colony's defensive mines, which Vex Thor had already mapped and neutralized in his tactical overview. These were the mining explosives, every ounce of industrial-grade material the colony possessed, wired into a network that collapsed 3 square kilometers of underground tunnels. Vex Thor's main force, concentrated in the colony center for rapid occupation, fell into a manufactured chasm. But Maya wasn't finished. As orbital support moved to assist, she activated the colony's mining lasers, designed to cut through asteroids, now reprogrammed and angled at the sky. The beams weren't powerful enough to destroy warships, but they didn't need to be. They blinded sensors, disrupted targeting systems, and in the chaos, Maya's guerrilla forces struck from the mountains with surgical precision. 14 minutes later, it was over. Vex Thor's remaining forces were scattered, leaderless, and combat ineffective. The simulation ended. Silence filled the observation deck. Every cadet, every instructor, stared at the tactical display in disbelief. Commander Vexthor's exoskeleton had stopped clicking. His 4 eyes were fixed on the human, who met his gaze with quiet intensity. "Explain," Vexthor demanded, his voice lacking its usual confidence. Maya spoke for the first time in weeks, her voice steady and clear. "You assumed I would fight like you. Every species here thinks warfare is about strength, technology, honor. Humans learn different lessons. We learn that the weak survive by thinking differently, by making the strong underestimate us, by turning our disadvantages into weapons." She paused. "I stayed silent because I was listening, learning how all of you think, what you expect, what you'd never anticipate." She stepped out of the simulation chamber. "I didn't break you with a single move, Commander. I broke you by making you believe I was already broken." The human cadet walked away, leaving the galaxy's greatest tactical mind to contemplate an uncomfortable truth. Humanity's greatest weapon wasn't technology or strength. It was the patience to appear weak while learning to strike where it hurt most.